making sure I got bread. Read.
And wear our own apparel.
You don't have to clothe me. I'll take care of that myself. But what?
Only let us be called by thy name, to take away our reproach.
But we're going to need your name so that I don't have a reproach. I need your protection. I need the seal that's on you to protect me from the death that's coming. So when it talks about the seal of the elect men, they're not just sealing themselves, they're sealing their whole household. So if they take on wives, it'll be due to this, not because of their carnal lust, because they like somebody or whatever the case is, and they want another woman. And then some of these women, even though they're taking on your name, some of them can be your wives in this day. But some of these women won't be your wife. Sometimes the sister may come with her cousin and her mother who need protection. They still are under your house. Just like the blood was on Moses' door. Not only did he have his wife, he had the mother, the mother that adopted him. She was protected from it too, because she was in the man's house. So that's on a spiritual level also. That have nothing to do with carnally laying with a woman. But if you want to look at it that way or examine it that way, to excuse what you want to do personally, just say that you want to go out and deal with a bunch of women if that's what you're doing. Don't try to say the scriptures backs this action, because there's a law with everything. What you have there?
Yes, this is
you're going into what that day is, right?
Right.
Let's go into that day.
2nd Ezra chapter 16, verse 31.
Go ahead.
Even so, in those days there shall be 3 or 4 left by them that search their houses with the sword, and the earth shall be laid waste, and the fields thereof shall wax old, and her ways and all her paths shall grow full of thorns, because no man traveled therethrough. The virgin shall mourn, having no bridegroom.
See that? Read.
The woman shall mourn, having no husbands. The daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. And the wars their bridegrooms shall be, and the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine.
Because the parish of famine and people are dead and dying all over the place. When you see a healthy man that's operating with the Most High, who have a direction on where to go, the women that are left are going to come under these men for protection. So that's in that day. And that, give me that precept again.
2nd Ezra 16, 31 through 35.
16, 31 through 35 of 2nd Ezra. That's the precept you link in within that day. Are you dealing with this right now? No. So that doesn't apply to taking on many women. We cannot utilize this. Okay. Now, there was scenarios, even in the New Testament, in which within the culture of Israel, there were multiple wives. That's why in Timothy's, it says that if you desire the office of a bishop or a deacon, you must be the husband of one wife. It wouldn't have that term there or that stipulation there if men who are Hebrews didn't have more than one wife. But in operate in a church setting, if you're looking to grow and to become 144,000, to grow and teach others, that means you desire the office of a bishop or deacon. Your desire should only be one woman, according to the law. See that? Of the New Testament. And what does it say about that in Romans? Let's go to Romans where Paul tells us that we're near the end. Those with wives be as though they have none.
Is that 1 Corinthians?
Yeah, 1 Corinthians, yeah. 1 Corinthians 7, excuse me. Go ahead.
1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse
Let me get it here. First Corinthians 7, and let's start at 27.
Okay, verse 27. Art thou bound unto a wife?
Are you bound to a wife? Which means, do you have a wife?
Seek not to be loosed.
Seek not to be single. Read.
Art thou loosed from a wife?
Are you single?
Seek not a wife.
Don't seek to have a wife. That means let the Most High bring these things to you. Read.
But if thou marry,
but if you marry,
thou hast not sinned.
You have not sinned. So it's not wrong to get a wife. Read.
And if a virgin marry, she have not sinned.
Go ahead.
Nevertheless, such shall have trouble in the flesh.
But if you marry, you're going to have trouble because you have two people that's going to see things two separate ways. So Paul is saying, well, listen, there's good in being married because you're able to satisfy certain needs. But all in all, there's trouble when you do. Read.
But I spare you.
But I spare you. Read.
Verse 29. But this I say, brethren, the time is short.
So he's saying, brethren, the time is short.
It remaineth that both they that have wives be as though they had none.
So when you operate and have to do with the will of the Most High and finish this work, you can't be taking on wives and think that your work for the Most High should diminish. Understand that your work must be done. So you taking on another wife is not going to change the obligation and what the Most High expects from your work. So the more people you take on, the less you'll be able to do for the Most High. And that's just the way it is. All right. Now I would go into the scriptures about divorce. But I know people go into the scriptures about divorce where it talks about in the beginning it wasn't so. Male and female, the Most High put together. And they go there and say, see, the Most High is saying that you can't have more than one wife. That scripture's not talking about that. It's talking about putting away your wife for nothing. That's what it's talking about. And what he's saying when it comes to divorce, in the beginning, it wasn't so. That scripture had nothing to do with a multiple wife scenario. And I'm saying that so sisters can't go there and use that anymore because it have nothing to do with that. That have something to do with a man putting away his wife for nothing. Okay? Just wanted to put that out there so that we can properly divide the word of truth. So I think I've answered that from every side according to scripture. If a man is going to deal with a wife, you understand? You go to the father after asking her, and then you ask the father for his hand, and y'all get the agreement. Then you come back before the elder and you perform it with the agreement with the father giving away his daughter. You don't have to do it within the... You could do it if you want in the Christian setting or the European setting if you would like. That's up to you. But you can do it and write it down without doing that and get it notarized as an agreement. Okay? And if that's not done, if the woman is not given away, that's not marriage. Go ahead.
This is Exodus chapter 22, verse 16. It says, and if a man entice a maid that is not betrothed and lie with her, he shall surely endow her to be his wife. If her father utterly refuse to give her unto him, he shall pay money according to the dowry of virgins.
That's crystal clear. So there's no wifing without the father involved. Because that's who you are accountable for. To take on his daughter and treat her like he would if that was his wife. All right. So let me open this up for questions here. I'll take questions for 5 minutes and I'll yield this to the brother.